Sure.
We're not talking the cancer numbers, irrefutable and so forth. Set that all aside. Talk, though, about, we're not talking about smoking in the classroom. That's already banned, and tobacco use in the classroom. Why should it be banned for somebody walking across a green space in the middle of the OSU campus? Why shouldn't they be allowed to smoke?
Okay, good question. The statistics seem to indicate that the entire activity is bad, and what we're trying to do is modify behavior. I think that's what the doctors are trying to do, that's what all of the initiatives are trying to do, and modifying behavior doesn't mean leaving a building and going out and engaging in that behavior, which is counterintuitive in terms of their health and welfare. So what we're trying to do is modify behavior. This is the way we think is the way to do that. Will we succeed in every respect? I don't know. It's going to be very interesting on how these campuses debate and consider this. I mean, they're going to get input from their students, their faculty, and there's going to be very serious discussion about this. Our job here is to raise the issues, is to bring forward what we think is a leadership position, and again, the governance of those institutions rests with those governing boards. I personally think modifying that behavior will inure to the benefit of the health of these students, and after all, that's our uppermost concern.
Colleges have always been the bastion of individualism, individual thought, and action.
And freedom, right.
Do you not feel that there's any contradiction here?
That's a great question. Let me comment on that. One of the great bastions of liberalism in this country is the University of Michigan. They're tobacco-free, okay? And I figure that if the University of Michigan, a bastion of liberalism, can handle it with their large student body, that we here in Ohio can do the same thing. So, you know, we'll be interested to see how Ohio State responds to this. It might be the Ohio State-Michigan game all over again here.
I don't know about liberalism, but what about individualism, individual rights?
Well, you know, this is what is going to be the debate. This is what is going to be the debate on the campuses. And we're going to have to see how it comes out. I mean, I'm not able to predict what a multitude of opinions will eventually come up with here. But look, we've got campuses, as you heard today in the report, campuses around this country are continually growing with respect to smoke-free and tobacco-free campuses. I think that's impressive. Will this impact individual rights? You know, when I first took up this initiative and everybody was debating how we should approach this, it's the first question I raised. I said, you know, we're going to get an avalanche of negativity here. The fact of the matter is, we haven't. To date, we have not. We'll have to see how it goes now that we push this initiative forward. The fact of the matter is, I think there'll be far less negativity on this than many people think, but we'll have to see.
Jim, do you anticipate that you're going to have multiple policies out there, different policies per campus, or would you like to see
Jim, I think that's a very good question, and I think, yes, we probably will get a patchwork quilt of different concepts of the way we deal with that, the way that it will be dealt with in different campuses. I mean, you know, when we try to get unanimity with all the campuses we deal with, you know, we have, if we have 14 campuses, we got 28 ideas, right? And I think that's the same thing that's going to be here. So we're going to have to see how much unanimity and continuity we get. But it's a start. You know, it's a few steps on a long walk, but those steps are forward, and we'll see how it turns out.
And what did you think of Regent Ackerman's suggestion of having a one drop-dead date for implementation?
We're going to have to look into that. That's the first time I've heard that. I think I'm one for benchmarks and goals. So I like the idea. Let's see after we talk more about it as to where we go with that.
Except for Miami University, the major four-year institutions of Ohio have not adopted this kind of policy. If it's such a great idea, why haven't they done this on their own?
You'll have to ask the boards of trustees. However, you have big institutions like Penn State, Michigan, Indiana, Iowa, that have all done it. Those are big, big schools, okay? Again, I think there's a trend out here. We're going to try to be leaders in that trend. I hear you. I think there will be good and honest debate, and time will tell. I'll be off the Board of Regents as this is getting near the end of my term, but I'm going to be watching from afar here as we move forward with this.
There was support voiced today for down the road implementing policies that would block the hiring of people who smoke, or perhaps fire people who are caught smoking multiple times. Do you foresee a time that maybe students would be blocked from enrolling in colleges if they smoke, or could be kicked out of school if they're caught smoking on campus?
Do I foresee a time? Not in the near future. No, I think this is something that is going to have to be phased in. Cleveland Clinic did this. And amazingly, I mean, this is one of the largest healthcare institutions in the world, and they take a very, very strict position on their hires. And as you said, they let go 2 very prominent doctors who wouldn't stop smoking. How are we going to deal with students on that? Once again, that's going to be the individual. And I'm trying to evade your question. The answer is, I don't know how this is all going to play out. I would think over time we're going to again try to modify behaviors so that we get far fewer students even dealing with the smoking issues than we've ever had in the past. And if we do, then we begin to get a handle on healthcare costs and their own health and welfare as well.
Jim, would this be an easier mission if you still had a tobacco foundation out there providing?
I think so. I think so. Yeah.
Was that a mistake for the state to get rid of that program?
Well, I think it was a cost factor. It was money. It was money. I'm probably looking back. It probably was. Again, I'm not a real expert on this, but I think that certainly would have been a helpful situation to have in place.
What kind of clout do you think this resolution will have on the boards of trustees? How much strength does really come with it?
Well, I think it will impact the boards of trustees significantly. I think as they sit around and debate, what are we here for? We're here to govern this institution. And what are we here for? We're here to make sure the students have a good experience, they get educated, that they go out and be able to support their families and support themselves. If we can and we also have to be responsible citizens in terms of impacting healthcare costs. So if we can actually make a difference on that, I think these trustees will look at this and say, again, like I did and like my colleagues did, it's the right thing to do. I think we should seriously debate it. Will it be a walk in the park? No, it won't. There's going to be some serious groups that will probably debate this. But I think in the long run, I think we're going to have most of our institutions accept this policy. Now remember, there's a difference here between tobacco-free and smoke-free, okay? We originally started with a tobacco-free initiative. We have sort of migrated into a tobacco-free initiative. We were first smoke-free. Now we're talking about all forms of tobacco. So, will we, even if we can get away with tobacco-free as a start, that's a start, and we'll take it. We'll have to see how these boards of trustees deal with this. I think that there's going to be some very serious. I've already talked to. I get around to the campuses in my role as chairman, and interestingly, I'm around for other reasons. But they come up to me and they say, you're working on this. Let us know. We want to support this. And these are from major campuses that we have in the state of Ohio. So I was honestly buoyed up with that.
There was a recommendation of possibly phasing in the not hiring smokers in 3 years. Do you think that might be something the board might take up?
You mean the
Regents board.
The Regents? Well, I won't be here, right. But I don't know. Time will tell. We'll have to see how all this plays out in the real world. But I personally would say we should be as aggressive on this as we possibly can. That's my position.
What institutions have you heard say, yes, we want to do this, and have there been any that have said no?
I don't have all my notes in front of me. I can tell you, I don't want to get anybody in trouble here. Let me just leave that question as I have been in touch with numerous of our campuses from various representatives, and not one has been negative on this. Now, again, there's 1 or 2 members of a board, and that there are 9 members of each board. And so again, you know, when they take it up in their councils, and when they debate it, and when they discuss it, we'll see how it all comes out. I'm going to predict, as I said before, that we're going to get a pretty positive response from our campuses, our universities, our workforce development centers, and so on.
When is your term up?
I am up in September, but since the governor hasn't appointed anybody, I guess I get an additional 2 months if they want to keep me. But I'm ready to go home to Toledo. I've got plenty of other things to do. I am going to miss this terribly, but my term is actually up, as is Regent Patterson and Regent Ryland. 3 of us go off.
End of September?
Well, actually, the meeting's going to be in Toledo, which is going to be my last meeting. That's why they're doing it in Toledo, and I believe it's the 3rd week in September.